Let's learn about the classification of living things. You might be wondering, why is it important to classify living things? Well, scientists believe that there are over 10 million different kinds of life forms or species on Earth. Imagine trying to study and understand the lives, patterns, and behaviors and evolution of so many different kinds of organisms. In order to make their job easier, scientists classify living things into groups based on how they're the same and how they are different. All living organisms are classified into groups based on very basic shared characteristics. Organisms within each group are then further divided into smaller groups. These smaller groups are based on more detailed similarities within each larger group. This grouping system makes it easier for scientists to study certain groups of organisms. Let's watch a video to help us understand why organizing and classifying is so important.
Imagine going to a supermarket with a short shopping list. Under normal circumstances, this task should be simple. But this time, things are different. Everything in the store has been arranged haphazardly. Soap is next to pasta, which is next to jam. And it gets even more confusing. Apricot jam is on aisle 10, while raspberry jam is 4 aisles away, wedged between a box of linguine and toothpaste. A simple task that ordinarily would take a few minutes turns into a frustrating ordeal lasting hours. Fortunately, this is only a dream. Our world would be very confusing if we didn't organize things by classifying them in different groups. This is why a supermarket puts all its dairy products in one section and its vegetables in another. If you know where carrots are, for example, broccoli can't be too far away. The diversity of life on Earth makes the variety of products in a supermarket seem trivial. We have given names to almost 2 million different species living today, and estimates of the actual number of different species vary from 10 million to as high as 100 million. They range from tiny bacteria that are visible only with the help of a microscope to whales weighing many tons. Within only a few square meters of tropical rainforest, there may be hundreds of different species of plants, and probably thousands of species of insects. And the number of organisms living today are only a tiny fraction of the number that have lived in the past. Some scientists estimate that 99% of all the plant and animal species that have ever existed have become extinct. We humans are only one species in this complex kaleidoscope of life, but we alone try to learn about and understand the other living things that share our planetary home. In part, this is because we are naturally curious about other living things, but it is also because we want to better understand our own position in the web of life. We want to know how we fit in.
So the classification of living things include these 7 levels: kingdom, phylum, class, order, family, genus, and species. Kingdom is the most basic classification. Currently, there are 5 kingdoms. Living things are placed into certain kingdoms based on how they obtain their food, the types of cells that make up their body, and the number of cells they contain. Once upon a time, a long time ago, living things were grouped into just 2 kingdoms: animals and plants. Now we know it's a little more complex than that. We have 5 kingdoms here: Kingdom Monera, Kingdom Protocista, Kingdom Fungi, Kingdom Plantae, and of course Kingdom Animalia. Kingdom of protists include protozoans, algae. Kingdom of monorans are bacteria. Kingdom of fungi, mushrooms, yeast, and mold. Kingdom of plants, broadleaf trees, ferns, moss, conifer trees. And kingdom of animals such as insects, squid, horses, earthworms, and even sea sponges. Let's look down at the next level, which is phylum. The phylum is the next level following kingdom. It is an attempt to find some kind of physical similarities among organisms within a kingdom. These physical similarities suggest that there is a common ancestry among those organisms in a particular phylum. Life forms are grouped together based once again on how they are similar and how they're different. Everything in the animal kingdom is similar to another in important ways. Can you think of some ways that animals are similar to one another? How are they different? Class. Classes are a way to further divide organisms of a phylum. As you could probably guess, organisms of a class have even more in common than those of an entire phylum. Humans belong to the mammal class because we drink milk as a baby. Biologists continue to classify life forms further into orders, families, genus, and species, getting more specific each time. Let's look at some of the similarities and differences between animals. In the mammal class, all mammals do these things. All mammals give birth to live young, they have hair or fur, mammal mothers all give their young milk, and they're all warm-blooded. Reptiles have scales, not fur. They have dry skin. They usually lay eggs, although sometimes live young, and they're cold-blooded. Here's a picture of a tiger, and let's explore its classification. The kingdom for a tiger is Animalia, animal. Phylum Chordata, meaning vertebrate. It has a backbone. The class is Mammalia, mammal. Order Carnivora, carnivore. Tigers eat meat. Family Felidae, sounds like feline, right? Like in cat. And the genus is Panthera. And the species is the Panthera tigris. Let's see if you can guess what animal this is while I describe its classification. Kingdom, Animalia. Phylum, Chordata. Class, Reptilia. Order, Crocodilia. Family, Crocodilidae. Genus, Crocodilidus. And species is the Crocodilus actus. If you guessed American crocodile, you were correct. Let's take a look at some common misconceptions about classifying animals. Many people often use criteria such as movement, number of legs, body covering, and habitat. These criteria can lead people to classify some animals incorrectly. For example, marine animals such as whales are often believed to be big fish. Some people believe that only large land mammals are animals. This is not true. And a whale is a mammal, not a fish. They give their babies milk, give birth to live young, and are warm-blooded creatures that live in the sea. Another common misconception is about birds and bats. It's true that they both fly, and at a sudden glance they can look similar. However, bats and birds are very different creatures. A bat is a mammal. They give live birth, milk for their babies, warm blood. And a bird is a bird. They lay eggs, they do not produce milk, and they're cold-blooded. I hope you have learned a lot of interesting things about classification of living things.